My brothers and sisters, I need to share something with you today that I have never spoken about publicly before. Last September, I almost lost my own father, not to some rare disease, not to a medical mystery, to ignorance, my ignorance, and his. I have been a cardiologist for 17 years. I have performed over 2,400 cardiac procedures. I have published research. I have stood in emergency rooms at 3 in the morning when every second counted and brought people back from the edge. I have saved strangers. I could not save my own father from his morning routine. Let that sit with you for a moment. My father called me at 7:22 in the morning. I remember the exact time. I was sipping my coffee, scrolling through patient charts. "Son," he said. His voice had a strange quality I had never heard before. "I feel dizzy. My heart is racing. Something does not feel right." Now understand something about my father. He is not a man who complains. He grew up in a generation that toughs things out, that does not call the busy doctor's son unless something is genuinely, seriously wrong. And what did I do? I dismissed him. I said, "Probably nothing, Dad. Your heart is just waking up. Sit down, drink some water. It will pass." 48 minutes later, my mother was screaming into the phone. My father had collapsed in the kitchen. His lips were turning blue. She could not find a pulse. The ambulance arrived in 6 minutes. The paramedics worked on him for 12 minutes before they got a stable rhythm back. 12 minutes. Do you understand what that means? 12 minutes without oxygen to the brain. Do you know what goes through the mind of a cardiologist when he hears those words about his own father? Every worst-case scenario you have ever studied suddenly wears your father's face. Every statistic becomes a prayer. I stood in that hospital hallway in my white coat with 17 years of experience and every credential I had earned, and I was completely, utterly helpless. A spectator in the most important moment of my life. My colleague, Dr. Patricia Chen, pulled me aside after they stabilized him. She asked me one question, just one. "What was your father doing this morning before the symptoms started?" I had no idea. I called my mother. Still shaking, she walked me through his routine. "Nothing unusual," she said. "Same as every day for the past 8 months since he retired." And that is when it hit me like a freight train. His routine was not the problem. The timing of his routine was a ticking time bomb that had finally gone off. Now, before I go further, I want to ask you something. And I want you to answer honestly, not what you think you should say, but what you actually do. What is the very first thing you do the moment you open your eyes in the morning? Think about it. Hold that answer in your mind. Because what I am about to share with you might change your life, or the life of someone you deeply love. If you are new here, my name is Dr. Vikram Anand. Every week on this channel, I bring you evidence-based wisdom on how to live longer, live better, and understand the body that carries you through this one precious life. If this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and join this community. We are building something meaningful together here, and today's conversation is one of the most important I have ever had with you. My father survived. 3 days in the ICU, 2 weeks of recovery. He came home. But he came home changed. He lives now with the knowledge that his heart stopped, that he was, by every clinical definition, dead for 12 minutes. That his brain sat without oxygen while paramedics shocked his chest 4 times, trying to restart an engine that had been running faithfully for 68 years. And the part that keeps me awake at night, the part I cannot escape even now, it was completely preventable. Since that morning, I became obsessed. I interviewed over 180 patients who survived sudden morning cardiac events. Reviewed every study on circadian cardiology, chronobiology, and cardiovascular timing I could find. I analyzed data that most cardiologists never look at because we are trained to treat disease, not prevent it. and I've found something the medical community is only just beginning to understand. There are 5 specific morning behaviors that create a perfect cardiovascular storm in people over 60. Not dramatic behaviors, not behaviors that would raise any red flag in a standard medical exam. Ordinary, everyday behaviors. But when you layer them together in the first hour after waking, when your body is already under its maximum daily physiological stress, they can stop your heart. My father was committing one of these 5 mistakes every single morning for 8 months. And based on everything I've studied since, based on hundreds of conversations with patients, there's a very real chance that you, or someone you love, is making at least one of them right now. So let us talk about what is actually happening inside your body the moment your eyes open, because once you understand this, everything else will make complete sense. Your body does not wake up gently, it detonates. Within 15 minutes of waking, your cortisol levels spike by 50 to 60%. Your autonomic nervous system violently shifts from rest and digest into fight or flight. Adrenaline floods your system. Your blood pressure jumps 10 to 20 points in minutes. And after 7 to 8 hours without water, your blood has thickened like honey. Your heart must work 3 times harder just to push it through your vessels. Now picture a heart that has been beating for 60, 70, 80 years. Facing this every single morning. Arteries less elastic than they used to be. Pressure sensors slower to respond. A system carrying decades of invisible wear. And then imagine adding certain behaviors on top of this storm that amplify every single one of those stresses. That is what millions of people do every morning without realizing they are playing Russian roulette. So let us go through the 5 mistakes one by one. The first deadly mistake is something 87% of people do the moment they hear their alarm. They jump out of bed, eyes open, feet on the floor, body upright, all before the brain is even fully conscious. It feels disciplined. It feels productive. For people over 60, it can trigger what is called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden catastrophic drop in blood pressure. Here is what happens. After 8 hours lying down, your blood is evenly distributed throughout your body. The moment you stand abruptly, gravity pulls up to 1 full liter of blood down into your legs and abdomen. 1 liter. On from your brain supply in seconds. In a young person, pressure sensors called baroreceptors detect this instantly and tell the heart to compensate. In an aging body, those sensors have slowed down. They are like smoke detectors with dying batteries. There is a lag. And during that lag, your brain is not getting enough oxygen. You feel dizzy, you see stars, and in the worst cases, you collapse. But here's what people do not talk about. When those slow sensors finally sound the alarm, the body panics and overcorrects. It floods your system with adrenaline. Your heart goes from struggling to suddenly pumping against enormous pressure. This is called reflex tachycardia. Your heart races violently, like an engine revved from idle to maximum in seconds. And that sudden acceleration can trigger fatal arrhythmias, ventricular fibrillation, cardiac arrest. On before you even hit the floor. The solution takes 2 minutes. When your alarm goes off, stay lying down. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Let your body know there is no emergency. Then, sit up gradually and rest on the edge of your bed with feet flat for 60 seconds. Move your ankles in slow circles to activate the calf pumps that push blood back toward your heart. Then, and only then, do you stand. Slowly. 2 minutes. That is all it costs. It could cost you everything not to do it. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly. Do you jump out of bed? Drop your answer in the comments below. There is no judgment here, only awareness. The second deadly mistake is one that almost nobody talks about. Not drinking water the moment you wake up. Most people reach for their phone, or they head to the bathroom, or they go straight for coffee. What almost no one does is address the fact that their body just spent 8 hours losing water through every single breath. By the time you wake up, you are significantly dehydrated, and that dehydration has thickened your blood. This is called hemoconcentration. The same number of blood cells, but in less fluid, stickier, and dramatically more prone to forming clots. The same kind of clots that cause heart attacks and strokes. And it is not a coincidence that most heart attacks happen between 6 in the morning and noon. The risk of heart attack is 40% higher in the morning than any other time of day. The risk of stroke is 49% higher. The fix is elegant in its simplicity. Tonight, before you sleep, place a glass of room temperature water on your nightstand. Not cold water, room temperature, 300 to 400 milliliters. And tomorrow morning, before your phone, before the bathroom, before a single sip of coffee, drink every drop. Within minutes, you are thinning your blood, reducing the clotting risk, easing the burden on your heart. You are quite literally diluting the danger. If this is resonating with you, and I hope it is, please take a moment right now to like this video. I know that sounds like a small thing, but it is how this information reaches people who need it, people who are making these exact mistakes right now without knowing. Your like is an act of service, so please, if you feel this matters, press it now. The third mistake is something 80% of people believe is non-negotiable in the morning. Strong coffee on an empty stomach. I love coffee. I am not here to take it from you. But the timing and manner in which you drink it can be the difference between a harmless ritual and a cardiac trigger. Caffeine is a powerful stimulant. Triggers adrenaline. It accelerates your heart rate. It constricts your blood vessels and spikes your blood pressure sharply. And when you drink it on an empty stomach, it hits your bloodstream in 15 to 20 minutes instead of the usual 30 to 60. There's nothing to slow it down. Your cardiovascular system is already under maximum stress. Elevated cortisol, thick blood, spiking adrenaline. Adding a concentrated caffeine shock to this is like throwing petrol on a fire that is already burning out of control. For a young heart with elastic arteries, perhaps manageable. For a heart carrying decades of work, with arteries that have quietly stiffened, with coronary disease that has never caused a single symptom yet, this combination can be the trigger that causes an unstable plaque to rupture. That rupture becomes a clot. That clot blocks an artery. That blocked artery becomes a heart attack. The solution is not to give up coffee. Eat something first. Even a banana, a few nuts, a piece of toast. Something to slow the absorption. Drink 300 to 500 milliliters of water before your first cup. And if you currently drink espresso or multiple strong cups, consider stepping back just 1 degree. One simple shift can change the risk entirely. The fourth mistake is one that will surprise many of you because it is promoted everywhere as the ultimate healthy habit. It's exercise in the first hours after waking. Weightlifting, high-intensity interval training, spinning classes, all of it before your body has fully transitioned out of sleep. Let me be absolutely clear. Exercise is one of the greatest gifts you can give your heart, but timing changes everything. In those early morning hours, your cardiovascular system is already redlining. Cortisol, adrenaline, thick blood, elevated pressure, stiff blood vessels that have not yet warmed up. Asking your heart to also supply a massive surge of oxygen to working muscles at precisely this moment is like demanding an already overloaded engine shift into an even higher gear. For an aging cardiovascular system, especially one carrying silent coronary disease it does not yet know about, this can trigger myocardial ischemia. The heart muscle, starved of oxygen. And from ischemia, the deadliest arrhythmias are born. It becomes even more dangerous when people exercise fasted and dehydrated. No food, no water, straight to the gym. Fasted exercise forces the body to break down muscle for fuel, releases more cortisol, drops blood sugar, and all of this on top of blood already too thick to carry oxygen properly. Many sudden deaths in gyms and on morning running paths happen for exactly this reason. Healthy-looking people who did not know they were stacking lethal combinations. The guidance is simple. If you want to exercise in the morning, wait 2 to 3 hours after waking. Hydrate first, something light. Let the cortisol and adrenaline of the morning transition normalize before you add the demand of physical exertion. Start every session with a long, gentle warm-up, and consider moving your most intense training to mid-morning, afternoon, or early evening, when your cardiovascular system is genuinely ready for it. And now we arrive at the fifth and final mistake, the one that brought my father to his knees, the one that stopped his heart. Showers first thing in the morning. My father had been watching videos. You have probably seen the same ones. Young, athletic, vibrant people plunging into ice baths at sunrise, talking about energy, immunity, metabolism, resilience. The science seemed real. The benefits seemed compelling. My father, who retired 8 months before his collapse, was trying to invest in his longevity. Every single morning he walked to that shower, turned it to maximum cold, and stood under freezing water for 2 full minutes. On the morning he collapsed, he did exactly that. The moment the cold water hit his chest, his cardiovascular system went into total collapse. His heart stopped. Here is what happened inside his body. Extreme cold on the torso is interpreted by the body as a direct survival threat. Within seconds, thousands of small blood vessels in the skin and extremities slam shut simultaneously, not gradually, like floodgates closing all at once. All the blood that was flowing through those vessels suddenly has nowhere to go. The pressure in the remaining vessels explodes. Studies show cold water immersion can spike systolic blood pressure by 20 to 40 points in seconds. In people with already elevated pressure or compromised cardiovascular systems, some studies have documented spikes of 50 to 60 points. For arteries that have been aging for decades, for a heart carrying the weight of decades of faithful service, this is catastrophic. An unstable plaque ruptures, a weakened vessel bursts. A heart muscle, suddenly starved of oxygen, begins to quiver instead of beat. Ventricular fibrillation, cardiac arrest. The paramedics shocked my father's heart 4 times before it restarted. And yet this practice is being promoted on social media to millions of people, including people in their 60s and 70s, who watch 25-year-old athletes take ice baths and think, if they can do it, so can I. But an aging cardiovascular system does not work the same way. What builds resilience in a young, elastic body can rupture an aging one. My father had warning signs in the weeks before his collapse: palpitations during cold showers, dizziness, and chest discomfort. He thought it was adaptation. It was his body screaming for him to stop. If you are over 60, please avoid extreme cold exposure in the first hours after waking. If you genuinely wish to explore cold therapy, do it slowly and carefully over many months. Begin with lukewarm water. Reduce the temperature by 1 degree per week. Always direct cold water to the extremities first, the feet and hands, never beginning with cold jets on the chest or head. And the moment you feel palpitations, dizziness, chest pain, shortness of breath, or unusual fatigue, stop. Medical evaluation. Those are not signs of adaptation. Those are warning sirens. I want you to be honest with yourself right now. How many of these 5 mistakes are you making? Write a number in the comments. 1 through 5. Just a number. I promise you, most people watching this are making at least 3 without any awareness of the cumulative risk they are creating every single morning. Now I need to pause here and be transparent with you. Everything I share on this channel is grounded in scientific evidence and years of clinical experience. But it does not replace the guidance of a doctor who knows your personal history. If you have pre-existing conditions, cardiovascular diagnoses, high or low blood pressure, diabetes, arrhythmias, or if you take regular medications, especially beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or blood thinners, please speak with your physician before making changes. These habits can interact with medications in ways that matter. My role is to illuminate. Yours is to act wisely, with your own doctor's guidance when needed. Now, let me give you the protocol my father follows every single morning. The one he credits with giving him his life back. 3 years of mornings, and not one cardiac event since. It takes 5 minutes, that is all. The first minute is what I call the awakening minute. When the alarm sounds, stay lying down. I know every instinct in you wants to rise and begin. Breathe in slowly through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold gently for 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. Eat 5 times. This is not laziness. This is a direct signal to your nervous system that there is no emergency. You are giving your cardiovascular system the gentle wake-up it deserves after everything it carries for you. The second minute is the hydration minute. Sit up slowly to the edge of your bed. Feet flat on the floor. Do not stand yet. Just sit. And drink the full glass of room temperature water you placed on your nightstand the night before. All of it. Every drop. Your blood is already thinning. The danger is already diluting. You have done something profound for your heart in under 60 seconds. The third minute is the adjustment minute. Stay seated on the edge of the bed. Rotate your ankles gently. 10 slow circles in one direction and in the other. Your calf muscles are pumping blood back toward your heart. Your baroreceptors are adjusting to your new position. Your brain is receiving steady, adequate blood flow. When you finally stand, it will be safe to do so. The fourth minute is the activation minute. Still seated, begin to slowly wake up the muscles that have been resting. Turn your head gently from side to side. Lift your shoulders toward your ears. Hold for 2 seconds. Release. Put your arms overhead. Gently left, then right. This is not exercise. This is the gentlest possible invitation for your body to come alive and safe. The fifth minute is the transition minute. Now, finally, you stand. Pause for a few seconds and notice, is there dizziness? Any lightness in your head? Any visual disturbance? If yes, sit back down and wait another minute. If you feel steady, walk slowly toward the bathroom or the kitchen. No rushing, no phone in hand. Just a calm, intentional beginning to your day. 5 minutes. That is all that stands between gambling with your life every morning and moving through the day with the peace of knowing you have honored the body that carries you. My father wakes up now and does this every single day. He has more energy, he sleeps more deeply, and he carries with him the quiet knowledge that he is no longer in danger from his own mornings. Now I want to ask something of you. If this conversation has moved you, if you can see how these invisible morning habits are putting millions of people at risk every single day, do 3 things for me. First, subscribe to this channel right now, not for the numbers, for the person you love who needs to see this next week, and the week after, when I share more of this kind of work. YouTube only shows this to people whose communities engage with it. Your subscription is how it reaches your mother, your father, your spouse, your friend who does cold showers every morning without knowing the risk. And click the bell. Turn on notifications, because this information is only useful if it reaches you when it matters. And this is the most important thing I will ask of you today. Share this video with 3 people you love. especially anyone over 60. Anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a history of heart concerns. The person in your life who wakes up and immediately jumps out of bed. The one who runs at 6 in the morning on an empty stomach. The one who saw a cold shower video and thought, I should try that. You sharing this video could be the moment that saves their life. I mean that without any exaggeration. My father is alive because my mother was home that morning. Because she called for help immediately. Because the paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. Because they had the equipment to shock his heart back to life 4 times. Remove any single one of those conditions, and I do not have a father today. You have the power to give someone else that gift, not through luck, not through an ambulance arriving in time, but through knowledge shared before the moment of crisis ever arrives. Tell me in the comments which step of this protocol you will begin tomorrow morning, not one day, tomorrow. Research tells us that committing publicly makes you 3 times more likely to follow through. So write it down. Tell me. Hold yourself to it. The transition from sleep to wakefulness is one of the most dangerous moments your cardiovascular system faces every single day. Do not underestimate it simply because it is familiar. Do not wait for the chest pain. Do not wait for the collapse. Do not wait for the ambulance. Prevention is not a medical concept. It is an act of love. Love for yourself, love for the people who would be devastated to lose you to something that could have been prevented with 5 quiet minutes every morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for caring enough about your life and the lives of those you love to spend this time learning how to protect them. Begin the 5-minute protocol tomorrow morning. Honor your heart. It has never once taken a day off from you. It deserves the same in return. I will see you in the next video, because I almost lost my father to ignorance, and I will spend the rest of my life making sure you do not lose someone you love the same way.